Good day everyone, I'm Karan M. Suarez. So for today's video, I will be continue to discuss and reading poems for you from Middle Eastern and the Afro-Asian literature, particularly in India and China poetry. But the poem that I'll be reading will be translated into English so that you can fully understand. So without further ado, let's get started. But first, I am going to talk about what is literary text. Literary text is one that is part of the general literature and writing known as an artistic. The form that is given to the message that is wanted to transmit, as well as to its content, has a special relevance. So, what does this mean? In literary text, the author has a complete freedom to write as best as he pleases. Usually, it is used a language and a special style that gives a certain poetic touch. So, the purpose of this content is to capture the reader's attention. As the authors of the poem from India and China. So, the authors of India are Rabindranath Tagore and Mahakavi Kalidasa. Also, the authors in Japan are Li Bai and Lu Yun. So, we'll start first with the poem of Rabindranath Tagore entitled Jeta Jeta by Shanyo, or an English title, Where the Mind is Without Fear. So, the original poems was published in 1910, written before India gained its independence. These poems represents Rabindranath Tagore's vision of a new and awakened India. So the first 9 lines of the poem presents a number of statements beginning with where. So this statement describe a place which Tagore is hoping India will be after independence. So in the last 2 lines of the poem, he then makes a plea to his father for his country to wake up into that heaven of freedom. So Rabindranath Tagore is a towering figure in a world literature and the most famous modern Indian poet. His best-known poetry collection is Gitanjali, and it was largely due to Gitanjali that he won the 1913 Nobel Prize for Literature. Chito Jata by Shanyo is the most renowned poem from Gitanjali. Here is the poem entitled Where the Mind is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. For the mind is without fear, and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the deep of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom. My Father, let my country awake. So that's the poem of Rabindranath Tagore's. Next is the poem of Mahakavi Kalidasa entitled Meghadota, or an English title, The Cloud Messenger. It was written in the 5th century AD. So Kalidasa is widely regarded as the greatest Indian poet of all time, and Meghadota is his most famous poem, consisting of 111 stanzas. The verse is unique to Sanskrit literature as it goes beyond the verse repeating or the chorus form, normally the form preferred for love poems, and instead strings the stanza into a narrative. So the poem talks about a yaksha, a nature spirit has been exiled to Central India for neglecting his duties. While pining for his wife on a mountain peak, he sees a cloud that he tries to convince it to deliver a message to his beloved. So he does not, by describing to the cloud many beautiful sights it will see on its northward course to the Himalayan city of Alaka, where his wife awaits his return. So Meghadatta initiated the genre of Sandasa Kavya, or a messenger poems, so most of which are modeled on it. It also inspired by play Maria Stuart by 18th century German dramatist Friedrich Schiller. Poem entitled The Cloud Messenger by Mahakave Kalidasa. For you the woman looked through tangled hair, with men folk traveling and take their chair, from union urged on by your path of air, where I still distant and to blame a pair, a hapless prisoner to another's care. So that's the poem of Mahakave Kalidasa. Urine, or an English title, A Farewell to a Friend. It was written in 701 to 762 CE. So Li or Li Bu, also known as an immortal poet, he often considered as the greatest Chinese poet of all time. He was also the epitome of the classic Tang Dynasty poetry, or Lanxi. Li Bai is best known for the extravagant imagination and striking Taoist imagery in his poetry, as well as for his great love for liquor, and many of his poems are about the comical and occasionally enlightening adventures of a wandering drunk. So about Levi's friends long to travels to like roaming clouds. So this Chinese poem uses a beautiful metaphors to express the deep connection Levi and his friend share thoughts their friendship. The poem of Levi entitled A Farewell to a Friend. Green hills skirt the northern border, white waters gird the eastern town. Here we part with each other, and you set out like a lonesome webs and grass, floating across the miles, farther and farther away. You've longed to travel like roaming clouds, but our friendship, unwilling to wane as the sun is to set, let it be here to stay, as we wave each other goodbye, our horses neigh, as it's for us they sigh. So that's the poem of Levi entitled A Farewell to a Friend. Entitled Dielenois, or an English title, A Butterflies in Love with Flowers. So Lu Yun was a Chinese poet and Northern Song dynasty. His original name was Lu Sambian. So the poet longs for her lover so deeply that she neglects herself in a land that she isn't familiar, successfully portraying that the poet's love for her partner is so strong that she can only think about him. So here's the poem translated into English entitled Butterflies in Love with Flowers by Lu Yun. While I leans against the banister of a tall tower, the breeze gently blows. As I look into the distance, the end of spring arouses melancholy in my mind. Surrounded by dewy grass at sunset, I wonder who is able to understand my longing. I would rather drink to intoxication. One should sing with one has wine in hand, but drinking to escape offers no reprieve. I do not mind that my clothes are getting looser. My lover is worthy of design. So that's the poem of Du Yung entitled The Butterflies in Love with Flowers. Here's my references, and that's the end of my assigned topic. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and God bless.